Who has been the best influence in your life? Some people may think that it is a family member, whether it be a parent, grandparent. Some others may think it's a teacher or a professor. For me, it was my science teacher named Mr. Silcox in high school. I was his student in 11th and 12th grade, and he just really inspired me to want to become who I am today. While being a student, I was really able to get an outreach on all the other teachers and see who was liked, who was not liked, and see who could inspire me the most and who I liked the most, and I saw that saw fit with me being inspired. I would like to pay a tribute today to this wonderful teacher, and he was one of the best teachers I've ever had, and he just really was always there. Mr. Silcox was a great teacher. He was always willing to help you. He actually cared about you, and lastly, he always had fun in his classes, and he always tried to teach you in different ways. First off, you have to know how he was always willing to help you. He was always willing to help you because if you ever had a question, no matter what it was, he would answer it. He would try to, if you had a question and you didn't want to ask in front of the class because some kids didn't want to do that, then he'd ask you. He'd really encourage you to go one-on-one with him after class and talk to him about whatever it is because he wanted to nail it down and always have you up to date with everything. And some kids didn't pay attention in class, and he was actually able to get them to pay attention by just being nice to them and just trying to open up to them and help them. He actually helped me on my midterm and final in 11th grade. He didn't straight up give me the answers, but he did give me a little bit of a good hint onto what some of the questions were or the answers were. I didn't really understand them sometimes because they weren't written by him. They're written by someone else, and he used them, so he just helped you out. So now that you know how he helped, it's time to know why he actually cared or how he actually cared about students. He cared about his students because he just felt the need. He always, in the first day of class, he always felt the need that he wants to get to know the students and not just seem like one of those teachers who just is there for their job and they don't really like students. Because there was a lot of students in my teachers in my high school, sorry, who didn't really like students that much. Like they weren't very nice per se, but he was always there and he always tried to help. There was actually a time where my senior year I had a physics teacher, and we didn't understand what he was trying to teach, and he was getting mad at us because we couldn't understand it. So a group of students went to Mr. Silcox, and we talked to him 30 minutes after our one physics class. And we talked to him through lunch, and he was willing to talk to us. He skipped his lunch to talk to us because he wanted to help us understand what we weren't understanding because the teacher wasn't we weren't able to understand the teacher. And he actually taught us what we were not understanding, and he also said that he wished that some teachers weren't like that and could actually be able to understand their students and be able to talk to students. So lastly, it's best to know how he was fun and interesting. He always had something new and always had something fun to do during the class, whether it be like group activities or labs. He always had a different way of teaching things. He never did anything the same way. He was a very interesting person. He was very outgoing, and he just always tried to help no matter what, like I said. One thing is when we did group activities, he would let us pick groups, and sometimes he would get angry because we would kind of fool around, but as long as we were doing our work, he wouldn't be that mad. So I've shared with you today why Mr. Silcox has inspired me and why I want to pay this tribute speech to him. It's because that he was always helpful. He always cared about his students, no matter who they were, if they acted bad in his class or anything like that. And he was always fun and interesting and always had a new way to bring across a topic in lectures. Instead of lectures, he actually used group activities. Like I said, just different ways to teach students and not to get them bored of this class and get them more class participation. I'm going to end this with a quote from Mr. Silcox himself. He actually said that people come and go, but time still moves on, so make the most of what you have. And this is really true because I thought about this the last class. He actually said this the last class, senior year, and it made a lot of sense to me because you just got to make the most of what you have, and he really did that because he was a great teacher, and he definitely inspired a lot of students because he was the most loved teacher at our school.